Rexasaur here, and welcome to another World of Tanks review, where today I will be reviewing the Tier 9 Russian heavy tank, the STI, which is very, very good. The other Tier 9 heavy tank is, of course, the IS-8, which I believe I've done a review of, I don't remember, which is very different to how the STI works. The STI is very, very heavy in the term of heavy tanks. There is also the M103 at Tier 9 for the America, Tier 9 Conqueror, which I have, the 75, which is over here, the 75, which I've played through, the VK4502B, which I haven't played through, is going to be replaced with the Mini Mouse eventually. There is the AMX5120, which I've researched but not bought or played yet, the WZ11114, and I believe that's it, in fact, for all the Tier 9 heavy tanks which this tank competes with. And in my opinion, I really enjoyed the E75. I thought it was incredibly heavy. I thought it was very mobile for what it was. It had a very good gun. And this tank, in my opinion, is a slower, much more reliable version of the E75. The STI can bounce pretty much anything if you angle it correctly, and is incredibly strong. However, if you know where to penetrate this thing, you can just go right through its armor. Now, let's look at the stats. It has 1900 hit points, which is the second most actually it's not second most, but it's near the top end. The IS-8 only has 1800. The E75 has, I believe, 1930 or 1950, but that might be the VK4502B, so it depends. The Conqueror, I believe, has 2000. I may be wrong. But yeah, so it's near the top kind of end sort of thing, because the 50B the AMX 5120 has less, and the IS-8 has less, and I think that's right. In any case, it has 700 horsepower to 60 tons weight. It's not very fast, but it's not exactly very slow. Its top speed is 40, which is pretty good. But as soon as you start turning, you slow down horrendously because of the degrees of traverse, which is 26 and 18 for the turret. Now, when it comes to armor, it doesn't have a lot of armor on paper, but it has a fuckload of armor in real life, which is really odd. The turret is impenetrable. It isn't, but it's just so angled. As you can see, it's ridiculously angled. Has a lot of angling. It's very, very hard to penetrate the turret. Tanks can, of course. The cupola is a very big, I say very big weak spot, but it's quite hard to penetrate it nevertheless. And the front of it, the actual hull armor is only 140 at the front, but because of certain bits of armor and the way it's sloped, it's actually quite hard to penetrate it, especially as soon as you start angling, because say you're here, this bit is now angled. This is preventing you from getting a clear shot. You can, most of the time if you shoot there, you will penetrate through it. This bit is kind of straight on, but it's also slightly angled as well. Now, one thing I would like to say before moving on, I despise this garage. I cannot show you everything of this tank. I can't zoom in certain positions because of this fucking garage, and it's annoying me. In any case, it has 140 hull armor on the front and sides, and a lot of this is spaced armor, which means that you're going to bounce a lot of shells. The turret is 250 at the front, and this includes the sloped bits here, which is ridiculous. And on the sides is 160 and 160 at the rear as well, which is very, very, very strong. Now, the gun is the same gun as the IS-8 and the IS-4. It is the 122 M62T2, which has a fire rate of 4.5. I believe that's about 10... No, it's less than 10. No, yeah, it's much less than 10. It's like 12 seconds reload. With gun rammer, with vents, with massive crew, you can reduce that to about 11 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. The penetration is 258. The damage 440. It has a 0.38 dispersion, which is alright, and an aiming time 3.4, which is not so alright. But, you know, on a tank such as the STI, it doesn't really matter, because you got so much pen, and you're going to be shooting at big targets. You're going to be a heavy tank. You are literally what I define as a frontline heavy. You are in the front of every single assault, because the STI can reliably bounce pretty much anything. The only thing that it can't really bounce are going to be tier 10 TDs, or people who fire exclusively gold, or artillery. And you are a massive artillery target, because you are slightly slow, and you've got a fuckload of armor, which means artillery's going to go, you've got a fuckload of armor, you're basically a T95 but a heavy tank, you're going down. And that is literally a very good way to describe this. This literally is a heavy tank version of the T95. Apart from the fact that the gun is not like a massive shot, it is still quite a big shot. But anyway, I'm going to show you 2 replays to show you how good this tank can be. Okay, so here we are on the first replay. We are on Mountain Pass, and as you can see, we are incredibly top tier. So obviously this replay is going to be a good one. I'm going to do good this game. There's no getting around it. I'm top tier in one of the best heavy tanks, tier 9 heavy tanks, in my opinion, in the game. However, there are still things to be scared of on the enemy team. For one, they have a tier 9 tank destroyer, which can very easily go through our armor. They have an E75, which is probably the best tier 9 heavy tank. They also have a GW Tiger P, which is incredibly powerful. On our side, we have a mixture. As you can see on the, if you look at the colors of each team, that kind of shows you how good a player is. I'm using a version of XVM, which really shows how good players are, because it's very, very strict. So blue players are going to be blue for a fucking reason. Orange players are going to be what green players usually are in the normal version of XVM, for example. But the enemy team have 3 green players and 1 purple player. So that's already going to show you that the enemy team aren't to be scoffed at. They have some very good players on their team. Compared to mine, which are more average, they're not shit. They have no red players. They have some red players, I have none. So, you know, the team's kind of balanced out, which is good to see the matchmaker actually balancing out some stuff. So we're going to go through to the middle on the map, since I see that no one's actually gone through the middle in my STI. I am going to crash here because I was actually, I believe, tabbed out talking to someone or something. But I'm going to keep going forward, and there's a Panther 2. I now remember what this replay is, and this replay was fucking hilarious. So a Panther 2 and a Tiger 2 are going to go across the bridge, and you're going to see the armor of the STI really come into effect, as well as its power in its gun. So I'm going to put one shot, a very low roll, into the Panther 2, who's going to shoot me and bounce on the front of my turret. Always show, as you can see how angled I am, I'm showing my turret. There's also a 5100, who I'm going to shoot, do a slightly low roll, get shot by the Tiger 2, who does damage. 5100 misses, and then bounces. I have now reloaded, he puts a shot into me, shoots, gets rid of my turret and my commander. I am not going to hit my commander yet. I angle, and he bounces the shot. He's getting shot from behind. He tracks me. I'm going to shoot. I'm not going to shoot him. Someone else is going to shoot him. I'm going to aim to see if I can get the Panther 2. And I bounce on Panther 2 because that Capella shot was never going to hit. The T-37 is here. He is the blue player on our team. I kind of accidentally blocked him. I say accidentally, I thought, I don't know. He was being an idiot. I was sort of showing him, you know, I'm here. I am going to push, I'm not a pussy player. And there's the Tiger 2. Now, look at these shots. With this gun, I can shoot through the top plate of a Tiger 2. That's how good this gun is. I've only taken 1 shot of damage, no, 2 shots of damage, I think. As you can see, and I haven't taken a lot. Now, the Tiger 2, I don't think realizes that from that angle, and with the penetration of my gun, I can fire through the top plate of his turret, which means that I continually do that. And he is not going to be a happy bunny, because I'm not aiming at the cupola, I'm aiming at the top plate. And I'm doing a bug load of damage at this point to this Tiger 2. And also, overall doing 2.5k damage already, which is, and it's not even been 5 minutes. So I'm showing you that, doing a lot of damage. Our team has collapsed on the 1 to 3 line of the flank, and the Panther 2 is still bouncing on me. I have taken another shot of damage though, but that's not too bad. I then miss my shot completely. There is a KV-4 behind me. I am just letting the KV-4 take shots as well. I'm not going to push stupidly because there is a T-34 coming forward. There is the Panther 2. I put a shot into his side and he dies. 440 average is horrendously high, in my opinion. It's not too high. It's still not as high as the E75, but the reload and the accuracy of this tank really puts into perspective. A 12T kind of shows up. I'm going to shoot him and kill him. But however, that means that I take a shot from the T-34, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I felt as if getting a kill and securing the 12T was better than attacking the T-34, who is also doing the same mistake that the Tiger 2 was doing, and his turret wasn't protected, which meant I could fire through the top plate. And the way that the turret was angled in the cupola made it sort of more like a bowl shape, so this means my shot was always going to penetrate from that side. The FCM 50 ton is over there. I shoot and only track him, which is a shame, but I do manage to get, overall at the moment I have 4,000 damage done. Now, I managed to, well, I tried to put a shot to the front plate of the 50 ton, but he turns at the last moment. Remember, the 50 ton is a good player, he's a green player, which means he's rather skilled. I do a completely blind shot. Wasn't really expecting that one to pen or to hit, but it does, which is fantastic. So I'm not really going to complain about that shot. But I wasn't expecting that shot to really hit, to be honest. But it did, which was great. So we have resolved the threat of the enemy on the 1 to 3 line, apart from the VK-4502A, who is probably going to go to the center. There is a CDC with me. We are now only 3 allied tanks because the GW Tiger P was slain by the enemy GW Tiger P. And there is a Foch here, who I am quite scared of. There's also the E75. I'm going to push onto him, hit his tracks, and track him as well as do damage, and the Foch bounces, as well as E75 earlier on. I'm going to try and get a shot into him, and I put a shot into his cupola. Now that was very lucky. Usually that would never have penned. I only did it because it was sort of a last resort, I really need that Foch to die kind of thing. And it was well worth it. Doing now 5,000 damage overall, and I've increased that a lot. We're almost at, we're just shy of 6k damage in this tank, which is quite a lot. Reverse a bit, put a shot, and it misses. Doesn't miss, it bounces. The K4 sort of rushes up, expecting to do some damage to the Foch, and totally scrubs. The Tiger P shoots and misses us because we've moved forward, but he was very well aimed there. It's kind of unlucky that we had moved forward because he would have got some very big damage on, probably killed me or the CDC either way. And I'm going to put another shot into the Foch, at least I hope so. I'm going to try and edge my way. There we go, I put a shot into him before, I was hoping for the bounce, but he didn't even shoot, so that was perfect. But as you can see throughout most of this replay, the only bit of my tank I've shown is my turret. Of course, like I did say at the beginning of the replay, that the hull, it can reliably bounce if you're angled, but you like, yeah, that doesn't mean you should like allow yourself to angle to try and get, you know, bounces on your hull. Your turret is the strongest part, so use it as your stronger part. Okay, and I feel like that's some good advice because as you can see in the replay, I'm really showing most of my turret, which meant that the enemy only had to, you know, could only shoot my turret, which meant they bounced, which meant they got into big trouble. Artillery missing the KV-4 there, and the CDC and KV-4 taking care of their Unicum super Pershing. I'm going to put a shot into him and kill him. I have now done 6.3 thousand damage, which is a fuckload. I think that's probably the most damage I've ever done in a tank, actually. I'm going to have to check that later. And I'll tell you before the next replay. Or during the next replay, I should say, right at the beginning. Because I think that's the most I've ever done in a game. But yeah, so STI, in this replay, you've really seen how good it is at holding flanks, especially the center. Like, it was me. There was a KV-4 there. There was also a T-37 at some point, and the CDC. But I did manage to hold it from 3 tanks for quite a while until, you know, they started pushing and then they got absolutely bollocked. So what's left is a GWWP and a VK. I am going to accelerate because I don't think I get another shot in, otherwise that would be immense, but I don't think I do. So accelerate 4 times, but that is what you can expect the STI to do at top tier. Getting myself a lovely Top Gun, 6.3k damage, which is horrendously high. But there we go. So a good replay, and we will move on to the next one. So here are results screen, Mastery Badge, Top Gun, High Caliber, and yes indeed it was 6,321 damage is the most damage I've ever done in a game of World of Tanks, and the STI is good at doing that. Also blocking 3,390 damage. So let's look at the next replay. Okay, so here we are on the second replay. We are on Hidden Village. We are once again incredibly top tier. Well, I say incredibly, we are slightly, well, we are top tier. There are only 4 tier 9 tanks per team, but the enemy team do have some dangerous tanks. They have a Jagdtiger, which is very, very uncool, and a Centurion 7-1. However, when it comes to players, it is very even. We've got 2 green players, they've got only 1, but they have a more well-rounded team of oranges and yellows than we do. And most of our tanks are in fact lower tier than theirs. Artillery-wise, we do have a M40, M43, which is much better than their GW Tiger P. And I need to change this. There we go. So we are going to move to the right side of the map. We are going to tank the corner of this line here. We are basically going to go down here because the STI, as you've probably seen in the previous replay, is a very tanky tank, which is good at holding lines. The enemy team's scouts have all done a rush down the center scout line, and that means we know where all 3 of them are, which is pretty shit on their behalf. We have 2 IS-8s on our team and a T-30. The 2 IS-8s aren't very good heavies. In my opinion, I think the IS-8 is probably the weakest of the tier 9 heavies, not including the AMX 5120, because I don't actually count that as a proper heavy. Then again, the IS-8 in my opinion shouldn't even be considered a heavy either. It should be considered more of a medium tank. However, as you can see by that bounce and that one, it's entirely up for debate. But there is another IS-8 here, and the IS-3's there. I'm going to put a shot into him and do a very high roll, 45 above average, which is pretty good. With a oh, sorry, I almost died. With a shot that was pretty aimed, but hey. So I right now feel slightly useless because of the way that the our allies have put themselves and the enemy have as well. In front of us is the orange IS-8 player, so the slightly weakest, and we put a shot into the enemy IS-8, who takes a quite large shot. And there is a Centurion 7-1. I'm going for just poking at a extreme angle, which means that if the enemy were to hit me, they would automatically bounce, or if I moved slightly too far, which I believe I did, to be honest, they would hit me on the side of the tracks and track me, and hopefully my tracks would take the damage. Jagdtiger shoots and misses. As you can see, my tactic has worked at this point. Jagdtiger has taken a big old hit. I'm going to put a shot into him, and it goes high and hits him in the superstructure, which is an automatic bounce because it's way too powerful. There's the Sturre Mill, who's probably going to get absolutely destroyed because he doesn't even get his poor little kill for doing that. He's actually using the stock gun. Anyway, Centurion 7-1 is stock. At this point, we now know that this is pretty much guaranteed to be a very good game for me, because the Centurion 7-1 being stock means that he doesn't have its awesome capabilities to destroy me. However, the Jagdtiger isn't stock, and he's found himself a very nice position. So he's found himself a nice position. I'm going to try and shoot him in the cupola, and obviously it bounces from a shot into me. Maybe? Yep. And it bounces, it hits my track, so the track has worked. However, this is when I get myself into a very bad position. I do manage to get shot off into the IS-3, but I am now surrounded by the Jagdtiger on one side and the IS-3 on the other. And I basically went here to try and get the Jagdtiger, which is what I still plan to do, but I miss, and at this point I'm like, well, this is just not a good position, because I just took a side shot from the IS-3. It might have been the Centurion, but I believe it was the IS-3, and the Centurion should take care of our destroyer mill. And there's a T-34 there as well. Centurion 7-1 is going to shoot, and here you're going to see a lot of hits, but a lot of bounces like that. And as you can see, I'm just pointing my turret towards the person I think is going to shoot next, and they bounce, and it's like, oh well, good. T-34, I don't know what he did there, because that was just a very dumb move. Probably going for the IS-8, but he basically just meant that I could shoot him straight away. Hero first to take the IS-3 shell, which bounces, and the Arctica seems to have moved up, which is horrible. I put a shot into the side of the Tiger 2 at a very extreme angle, which tracks him, which is fantastic. And I'm trying to position myself so I don't, so I can bounce both people on my right and the Arctica behind me, who is being attacked by the IS-8, and then the IS-8 kills. Oh, shit, the IS-8 doesn't kill him off. The T-34-3 does, which is fantastic, because that means I can now move myself to a much better position to go around, and I'm going to move up to attack the heavy tanks up there. I have lost just under 1k health, but the enemy team have lost so much health that they are now all one-shots. So I'm going to go up and shoot at them and do one shot, which goes through, I believe, the top plate of the Tiger 2, where he might have gone slightly to the left and hit the side of it. Either way, the Tiger 2 is dead, and I believe this game is almost over. All that's left is the Centurion 7-1 and the 1390. Oh wait, this is not over at all. It is over, but this is just going to show you that, yeah, I'm very comfortable with this tank. I know how I feel very confident that I know how to play this tank, and that the way I'm showing you right now is a very good way to play it. Play it as a frontline heavy that can bounce, that can hold a whole line, and just make everyone back down because you are so ferocious. What it isn't is a scout chaser, and what it isn't is a non-aiming shooty tank. And what you're about to see is a MX-1390 not only kill a T-30, but also make a complete fool out of me. So I'm going to go. I actually do aim this shot, and then I shoot it, and it actually goes straight to the center, but that was never going to hit. Like, it was very improbable that it was going to hit. So 1390's there, and I'm going to aim, and then I'm like, well, actually we're capping, so I might as well just rush and like assassinate him with my tank, because I'm, you know, on a downhill and pretty fast, which is good. Missed that shot, and this is where the 1390's like, woo, let's shooty, and he shoots. He gets around me, bounces his first shell, and that is bullshit. That is accuracy shit. He's bounced 2 shots, I believe, or he might have penned that second one. I wasn't really paying that much attention, but then he goes back and they've capped, and he just buggers off. You know, he doesn't want to die. Complete fall out of me, but there we go. That is the STI. So let's look at the final result screen and my final verdict on the tank. So here's the results screen. Only a 2nd class mastery, but oh well, you can't get mastery badge all the time. And a high caliber, getting 7,500 XP because it was a ×5, and doing rather well for ourselves with 4,100 damage. I keep doing a lot of damage in this tank, and there's a reason why. The STI, also blocking 3,000 damage, and the STI is a frontline heavy. I've said it multiple times during the review. It's a frontline heavy that can reliably bounce shells as long as you use the turret to its, you know, to the biggest of it, to the highest of its ability and capability. There we go. Trying to get my words out. It is a very fun tank to play. It is a very good tank to play, and I would say it's better than the E75 in some aspects. I don't know, the E75 is nice because it's mobile as well as incredibly powerful. Also because it's shaped like a box, like a Tiger basically, like a Tiger 2. You can very easily learn how to angle, and it's a very normal tank, and you know, there's no surprises with an E75. With an STI, it takes a little while to get used to it, but most of the time it's just get hull down, use your turret to the best of your advantage. The STI has very nice depression, so you know, it doesn't matter if you get yourself in in a tight spot where you have to aim down something because you got good depression. And the gun. The gun on the STI has so much pen, and like it has a really nice reload. It can reliably pen through even top plates of Tiger 2s. It's just a fantastic tank, and I could not recommend it more as a tier 9 heavy. It feels like it should be tier 10. That's how good it is, in my opinion. I feel like it doesn't belong at tier 9, but it does, because the IS-4 is even better. Or at least that's what I've heard from my friends who have it, and I can't wait to get the IS-4. But the STI is definitely one of those things, one of those tanks that I am really enjoying, and I would highly recommend anyone else who likes heavy tanks to get it, because it's fantastic. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this review. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I will see you next time. Ta-ra.